Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Hello. Welcome to episode 53. I'm at the table with Manny Albin, Damon Lowney, and at the controls we have Robert Forsyth. Episode 53, that is a significant number for you, Manny. You like that number.
Yes, that used to be my old race car number.
And it's also the number for
Herbie the Love Bug.
That's right.
So I chose 53.
Did you know that, Damon?
That's so
I just
corny.
realized that when I looked down that it was episode 53.
When I had to pick a number, when I first started racing, I couldn't think of anything. Everyone picks their birth year, but I wanted something.
Which movie was it where the kid called it Ocho?
That would have been.
It was like a later one, right?
Yeah, Herbie Goes Bananas.
Ah, okay, yeah. They call it Ocho because the kid added 5 and 3.
I remember
man.
Paul Gilbreth, who's I think a co-concourse chair for a parade. He had bought the 74 RS that won its class at Le Mans, but also was in the movie, one of the Herbie movies.
Oh.
And I used to always tease him. I used to say, yeah, the class win at Le Mans, that's impressive, but really impressive is that this car was in a Herbie movie.
There you go. All right, just a little bit of housekeeping here. If you enjoy the episode, please give us a like. Love reading your comments. And, of course, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We are getting very close to 70,000 subscribers and on our way to 100K. So we've got a lot to cover because we covered a lot of miles this past weekend.
Yeah, before you start, did you see the email from Brent? I'm going to ruin this last name. Hunish?
Oh, yes. I
Chicago?
love dedicated listeners, and here's one of them.
Oh, Brent. So Brent emailed us while we were away after listening to the episode when we were talking about Kringles.
Oh, yeah.
The pastry out of Wisconsin, because they had cars and Kringles, and we didn't know what a Kringle was. He's going to have them shipped to the office.
Oh, I'm so excited.
nice.
So everyone can
Thank you,
try
Brent.
out
Thank you,
Kringles.
Brent.
I said,
Thanks,
well, I'll
Brent.
take some pictures of a Kringle, because I will never walk away from a pastry.
I'm looking forward to what a Kringle is. Thank you, Brent.
Yeah, same here.
So the trip down was supposed to. So Manny and I decided to save the club some money, and Manny's trailers all the time, or used to trailer all the time when he club raced, and I trailered quite a bit because I grew up with boats, and we thought we would take that 10-11 hour drive down from Maryland to Jacksonville and just cruise on down and have a good time.
It's a pretty easy drive. There's no mountains. It's pretty flat. It's
Normally you just hop on 95 and you just
cruise.
Just cruise
So
until
this didn't happen?
until you get to Jacksonville.
So this is new. I haven't heard
Well,
about
first,
your...
Project 964, we did a lot. We lowered it. We put
the seats in it.
HRE wheel. It looked really awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But now it changes the whole dynamic of how you load a U-Haul.
Yep.
We couldn't do it. First, we tried to do it the conventional way where you drive it up with the front end first, and it was too low.
It was too low. Not that it couldn't get up onto the trailer, but at the end of the trailer, the front part of it, there's a wheel stop, and that wheel stop, when you drive into it, it kind of drops the front tire into a little well, and you go up against this wheel stop. Well, the wheel stop is too high, and you have to either put boards under the front wheels or it will hit the bottom of the bumper. So Manny said, let's just back it up, and it was perfect.
Yeah, we backed it up, and
It's kind of a pain to back up
well,
that
then
car.
we find out that only one fender you can fold down.
No, man.
So me and my cat-like reflexes and
That's not what he said. He said, I'm kind of like Jello when I get out of the car. I can just squeeze through.
so I climbed out from with these beautiful Recaro SPG seats.
Oh.
I climbed myself. When I used to race, they used to say it's amazing how fire is a great motivator. When the car's on fire, anyone will be able to get out of the car really fast. So I just pretended the car was on fire.
I was going to say, were you just in the car for the whole drive and like waving at people behind you?
That would have been
Because-
probably easier.
So the first thing I did was to make sure I put a towel in between where the door and the fender would hit, because the fender that drops is only on the driver's side. So now we've got the car backwards. He's got to get out on the side where the fender is fixed.
Yep.
So he swings open the door. Now that the car is lowered, it doesn't clear the fender. So now I got to make sure that doesn't get scratched. And seeing him unwedge himself. Oh, sorry, I hit the mic. Unwedge himself to get out was
Luckily, the car didn't have a cage like my race car. It would have been really would have been difficult.
Wow.
But I didn't see you volunteer to do that.
no, of course not. And then one time, later in the weekend, he decided it was just easier to cross over into the passenger side and get out where the door could fully open.
Yeah.
But he's got to like get his legs out first. And you know how like when you see a situation where you just need to take advantage of and just you need to tickle the person.
He was a captive.
And he was like a turtle on his back. He's like, stop it, let me out.
Then you wonder why I make fun of you.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, but yeah, so here's where I've got to admit that I made a very, very poor decision for the both of us, and this was a culinary decision. So you all know we're fans of In-N-Out, and so
Yep.
so it's supposed to be a 10-11 hour drive, but then I guess 95 was closed down for some reason. So we take a crazy detour to Raleigh-Durham.
So we cross over. Basically, we go to another interstate.
Yeah.
Which, in all told, this detour was like 3 hours, which
Yeah.
I really questioned ways whether or not that was the best idea, but we went with
Well, I mean, we went with it, and the good news is we were safe, and it was easy. It was an easy drive.
It must have closed because I made it straight down, but I left at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So
No, not for us, and
Not for you
and no
guys,
matter
yeah.
like what, like how you can look at the different routes.
Mm-hmm.
Every route was like you got to go around 95. So something big must have happened.
yeah, something happened.
So, anyways, so we go around the detour, and then we finally get back on 95. Now it's dinner time, and you know how I love In-N-Out, but people from
We had eaten Five Guys for lunch,
we did
which was
Five
very
Guys.
good.
Five Guys is good when you eat on site. I'll agree with that. When it's to go, it's terrible. So I wasn't sure, again, the culinary options on 95 is not that broad. So I started seeing all these signs for cookout, and I remember, people from down there,
a great restaurant.
They always say, it's better than In-N-Out. So I'm like, you know what? So I pull
Not
off,
better than In-N-Out.
and I said, let's try it. And Manny was lukewarm to the idea.
Well, it made us lukewarm because we were passing a Waffle House across the street, and there's a Popeyes literally in the parking lot next to Outhouse or whatever it's
Once
called.
in a while, you need to have
Cookout.
Once in a while, you need to have a culinary adventure, and
So
that's
I'm
what I
like,
wanted.
okay.
I think you made a great choice. I like cookout.
Okay. Well, first off, maybe out of the bazillion cookouts that we
Yeah.
saw, we maybe chose the wrong cookout.
Yeah.
Because just right when you step through the door, the staff was in training, and okay, that's fine. You're right. She's not very good
yeah.
at it. She's asking us, "Do you want a tray?" And I'm like, I've never
Never
ordered
been
here,
here,
before.
right?
So I'm
Yeah.
thinking like a tray to put my food on, but tray is like, do you want like the value meal, right? So okay, I figured that out by looking at the signs. Anyway, so I order mine, and then Manny orders his. We just get basic burgers or whatever. Then we go to the machines to get our drinks, and I think half of the fountain soda didn't even work, and so that starts the downhill experience at Cookout. And then the food comes out. Oh man, it was
Was it
Damon,
really?
it was like someone took like one of those
So
frozen.
for YouTube viewers who are looking, they give you 4 onion rings, which I made the sign of the Audi symbol.
He did.
Because
He did.
it was
He was
roughly
so upset.
to scale of what an Audi grill badge would look like.
So my burger looked okay. Like my burger looked that's a photo there of my burger and my hush puppies. I will say the hush puppies were excellent. I got coleslaw, but then after seeing Manny's sandwich, I'm like, me, look at that mess that he has.
That's literally
Oh,
I
wow.
opened up.
That's how he opened it up. It looked terrible. And after seeing his mess, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't trust their coleslaw. So I didn't eat their coleslaw. But
I mean,
Still looks tasty.
I applaud them for hiring the
I wouldn't wanna eat it because
people
it's
that
messy.
have are nearsighted, and because whoever put that together could not see.
but
Yeah.
the meat was like those Salisbury steaks that you get in the freezer, and they boiled it and put it on.
Oh,
They
interesting.
did not make it fresh because the hamburger came out
So fast.
in like
Yeah.
20 seconds.
Yeah, I forget what I got. I've been there once, maybe twice. Never went in because there wasn't like an inside. It was just a drive up or walk up. And I think I got the barbecue sandwich, which for like a $6 meal plus some.
It was cheap.
Whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. I enjoyed it. I feel like. I mean, Manny's going to hate me for saying this. I feel like it's the Waffle House for like burgers and just whatever.
Them be fighting words, brother.
And I love Waffle House.
Don't compare it to Waffle House. Manny is just going to throw this mic at you.
Yeah, right.
Now, I've eaten at 5-star restaurants, Michelin-star restaurants, and Waffle House is also. Anthony Bourdain loves Waffle House. It's fresh food. They cook it right there in front of you, and that's what I like about it.
Again, maybe the particular cookout that we chose didn't have a lot of turnover, and we got a terrible example. But
yeah, perhaps. I think you owe Cookout maybe one more visit just to settle it. Maybe
when the CEO comes with the hamburger to me, I'll eat it again. Until then, they're off my list.
Oh man,
there's way too many selections.
Yeah.
So we ended up eating a hot dog from.
Not you.
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
from,
because that was a culinary delight. That was from a gas station that was rolling around for 8 hours.
No, but that was a pretty awesome display of hot dogs.
It was.
Was the hot dog better than
this
your?
Wasn't like a 7-Eleven.
No.
You're not sure how many hours it's been on there.
Yeah.
This was top notch, very clean. It was.
It was.
That we loaded up on a crap load of lollipops.
Yes, we did.
To keep us awake, and
So
what it was supposed to take. We were supposed to get there at 8:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, and we didn't get in there like 12:30.
Man, I looked at when did you guys leave?
We left here at 10.
Yeah,
10 a.m. Okay, yeah. So leaving at 3 a.m. was that's why.
So here's a trick. I don't know where you got the idea, Manny, but my buddy Gregory Brown, when we do long road trips, the first time we did a long road trip together, he brought like a bag of lollipops, and for some reason, when you're enjoying a lollipop, you tend to stay awake.
Lollipop or sunflowers is what I've heard too.
Sunflower seeds, yeah. Here's one thing. Does anyone make, like, how I drink a Red Bull, and Manny's going to laugh because I was in the passenger seat, like, getting ready to drive, and I drank a Red Bull, and I think I literally fell asleep like 5 minutes later. But does anyone make, like, a caffeinated lollipop? Because that could be, like, a double-double where you could really stay awake while you're driving.
I mean, I've never heard of that, but I mean, they're caffeine pills,
should
right?
I patent that? Like a caffeinated lollipop?
yes,
like,
because every parent in America will love you.
Yeah. No, let's go crush up some caffeine pills, mix them in with some sugar.
I'm going to market it to gas stations along major highways. Voo's caffeinated
You just
lollipops.
call it meth pops.
Meth pops.
All right. Well, I will say kudos to U-Haul, because the trailer performed
Yep, I asked our
flawlessly.
U-Haul guy at Paco's Paint. I told him, I said, we're going to take it for down to Florida and back, so I need to make sure this is good tire-wise and bearing-wise, and he did. He
towed nice and stable.
We borrowed a friend's
straight as an arrow.
Jeep Wagoneer, and we have different towing styles. Boo was getting 15 miles to the gallon, but he was trying to get 15 miles. So I would look over and see like 57 miles an hour.
It didn't matter. We were hitting traffic.
So I would just close my eyes, and meanwhile, I looked at when I would hand it over to Boo, it was down to 12.9 miles per gallon.
Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't hypermile.
The funny thing, there's so much now. There's so many adjustments on these newer SUVs that we had a hell of a time with unhooking the trailer because of the air suspension.
Yeah, the air suspension in a Wagoneer, when it senses the rear going up, it thinks you want to change a tire. And so it pumps up the rear suspension, which makes it almost like an angle that you can't disconnect.
Literally, as we're trying to get it off the ball,
yeah,
rear end keeps on going higher and higher and higher.
The car is following the trailer. So anyways, we figured out later, we made it work. So anyways, we finally get into the hotel in Jacksonville by 12:30 that night. Checked in.
The bad news didn't end.
What do you mean?
We're checking in, and the lady says, they go for the same rigmarole about the pools over here, blah, blah, blah. And she says...
she tried to slide one past Manny.
And she goes, at 6 a.m. we begin our non-complimentary breakfast. And I looked at her, I go, you mean complimentary? And she goes, no, none. You have to pay for it. And I looked at her, I'm like, really? Because this is not a full-service hotel. This is a loft.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like a Euro
honest
hotel.
to God, I thought it was a Hilton property because I went there. I go, hold on, I got my Hilton Honors card I want to give you.
Right next to the door, it says Marriott.
And she goes, you mean your Marriott? And I said, this isn't a Hilton property? She's like, no. I'm like, oh.
Whoops.
And then when she
Perfect
said
way
the-
to end the day.
Then when
Right.
she said the no pre-breakfast, I was like, why are we staying here?
I think we're looking for a new location for next year.
I love that
was
location.
I was thinking, if you guys are into it, it won't be mandatory, but so we had a house last year with multiple rooms, and a number of us stayed, and actually cost was, I think, a little bit cheaper.
But we're not going to get that same house because
No. But
I
my
would
thing
stay in
is,
the living room of that house. That
my thing is, if we can find Airbnb closer, not having to drive that hour back and forth or 45 minutes, whatever. Like, to me, that's worth it, because like I want to go back and change, or I want to get something. It just makes it easier.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna have Melanie look for an 8 to 10 bedroom house, and those that want to stay at the hotel can stay at the hotel. But those that want to stay at the house, I'll
would
be
stay
more
at
than
the
welcome.
house.
Would you stay at the house?
Oh, yeah.
Would
Yeah.
you stay at the house?
Most likely, yeah.
And then your equipment's right there.
Yep.
You can run back and forth.
That house
Yep.
that you stayed in last year would be preferable.
Yeah, that's not
Right, yeah, that house.
That's
it had
not
a
available.
semi-indoor pool.
Yeah. I just need more. I just need a lot of rooms and a lot of places to park cars if we're all going to be there. So, all right. So then, was it Thursday morning is set up, and we did it differently. We had pods this year. So Manny
Organized pods.
Manny carefully, with the other staff, organized pods and pallets, and everything made it there safely. And now it's the setup of Werks Reunion, and everything went quite smooth on Thursday. You guys have any issues with your stuff or getting things?
No, I mean, everybody pitches in to help out, but it seemed like everything was under control. The tent people showed up, and
All of our local region volunteers came.
Yeah.
Stuffed bags, moved things around.
a lot of times, sometimes the issue is people are there to volunteer, but there's nothing for them to do because we're waiting for the tent people to put up tents and whatnot. But no, surprisingly, it went. It seemed to go pretty smooth. I didn't hear of any delays. I didn't hear people hitting water lines or anything like that, putting tents up. It was.
I'm going to give a shout out to Amelia River Golf Club, Mike and Tom Miller and the crew there. They're amazing to work with. They always just say yes and help us make everything happen. Cars were loading in, judge cars and exhibitor cars were loading in around 3 o'clock. All that went smooth. Now, Damon was actually doing some kind of cool stuff.
I was filming, and I'll talk about what I filmed in the afternoon. And that was actually a really special video shoot. So we had Gurney Eagle 500, one of our subscribers to our YouTube channel and frequent commenters, as well as Jeff Jones, both PCA members in the region, Suncoast, Florida, I believe. Man, I should really know that. But down in that part of Florida, and they both brought their 2022 718s. So Gurney Eagle 500, his name is Mike, brought his 718 Cayman S, and Jeff brought his, a 718 Boxer GTS 4.0. And so I got to drive both of those for a 1 mile review comparison, and we had a film crew. So it wasn't myself and Bogdan filming this time. We actually, as part of just our video crew for Werks Reunion, we hired a crew, and this should be a really, really high quality, at least from a technical perspective, a 1 mile review. So we're testing different formats or at least quality of the camera work and the sound, and we'll see what this one turns out like. But it was definitely an experience for Gurney Eagle and Jeff to be around for the whole,
cool to see
for
them.
3 or 4 hours, see what we do,
Yeah.
drive the cars, get my opinions and my scores, which I was surprised actually. I won't give it away here, but you put a naturally aspirated 6-cylinder next to a turbocharged 4-cylinder, and I think most people would say, like, right off the bat, even before driving the cars, give me that naturally aspirated 6.
I know better than to say that.
Yeah, it's not quite so clear cut.
No, it's not.
Especially driving them back to back. It's not that clear cut.
Well, Gurney Eagle's car is funny because obviously I'm colorblind, but when I first met him, it was the sun hadn't come up yet, and on Friday morning, and I thought it was gray. And then later on the day, I see the car, and I'm like, wow.
Python green.
It's green. I said, I thought it was a gray car. I didn't
That
realize
color
it
is
was
wasted on him.
I'm like,
Gray.
it's a great looking color.
Yeah. One word: torque.
Yes, there's the torque, and there's more than that though. It's you'll have to watch the video. Probably in the next few weeks it'll be out, but it's not as clear cut as you might think. So.
There's one thing about Amelia River. It's not really Amelia River's fault, but just the location of where we have that is. Hopefully we can. It was worse this year than it had been in the past, and it was good that it was a little windy on Friday because it took care of the problem. But the one thing that annoys me is there's this one picture that Bogdan took of me standing next to Project 964, which looks like I'm like scratching my head thinking, what's going on here.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is I'm scratching my head is because these things that they call no-see-ums, which you can see them, they bite you like crazy.
I feel like a drug addict with all the scabs I have on my arms.
You look like it.
My arms are just like, oh man,
and they are vicious. They're little, but they're vicious.
I didn't see him.
Well, so
I see them.
I would love to know, because the people down there obviously have lived with them forever. What are they using so they don't get bit?
I think they don't go like close to
They
the
don't
woods.
go outside.
The thing is, when you're close to the tree line, and
But look at all those golfers. I mean, when we were getting bit up trying to unload the trailer,
oh, that's true.
I was like, I'm looking at the golfers going, well, obviously they have
something on
Some
them.
special
something on them or
bug spray
something
of some
that,
sort.
or they don't have any blood left in their. Robert just said to our ear, they don't bite the locals.
Robert just said they don't bite the locals. They're smart no-see-ums.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good question. We should ask Mike and the team at the golf at Amelia Road.
Because I put every type of. If any of this stuff causes cancer, this is where
We're
I
doomed.
get cancer
We're
right here
doomed.
at this event.
I think we tried 3 different types.
At any time somebody said, "Hey, you want some bug spray?" I was like, "Sure." hoping that they interact well with each other, but I put so many different layers, and it seemed like it would only last like 2 hours.
Yeah,
And then you would
I
start
bathed
getting.
in it. I bathed in
my
it.
scalp was everything was getting
Yeah.
bit, but it wasn't the whole day, and we got lucky because we didn't get the rain that they said was going to happen at 1:00.
Yeah.
And everyone seemed to be having a great time. PCA members, as they always do, show up when the sun is still hasn't risen, and so we're using flashlights and phones to light up to see where people park at. But everyone, I think we had very few no-shows from what I saw. Open
No,
spots.
the numbers were solid, and there were a lot of great cars. Before we get into the day of Werks Reunion, I did get to attend the Guardians Winemakers
right,
event at the Ritz, which is a Porsche event Thursday evening. It's a little bit ritzy. Typically,
Now, tell us the exact name, because this is the longest name of a dinner.
oh my gosh,
It's called the the Guardians of the Mark is it Guardians of the Porsche Mark? Look it up, Damon.
I just call it
Winemakers Dinner. It's a great. I think it's a great event.
It's an
I used to
amazing
love
event.
to go when I got invited. It's $400 a person if you have to pay for it. It sells out. It's all Porsche people, and usually it's the who's who of Porsche.
See, the Guardians of Porsche Winemakers Dinner.
There you go. So some people consider it the bucket list, and I was lucky enough that there was an extra ticket this year that I could go. And as Manny said, it's not really about going there. The food is amazing, and they kind of pair things with wines, and that's all good and all. But really, it's to go there and to see what cars they're going to bring. It's a great way to see a lot of our partners, and they typically have a wonderful session presentation during dessert. And this year they had Jeff Zwart, Sean Cridlin, and JF Museo, and basically they were talking about how those individuals sort of capture the essence of the passion of Porsche folks and deliver it in the various mediums that they are professionals in. For example, Sean Cridlin in print, JF through digital media,
Yep.
and then Jeff Swart through obviously all of the work that he's done through the years. So it was very interesting. Like I said, I go there or I enjoy seeing the people there, and I had some great conversations. Cole Scroggum, the Ingram family, Cam, Rory, Mr. Ingram himself, to see them there. At my table was a very familiar face, and this gentleman Jens Walter was sitting
Oh,
across.
nice.
Yeah, and so when we were like both heading towards the table, and we realized we're at the same table. We're like, that's awesome. This is amazing. And then right behind me,
And Jens Walter was the head of Porsche Motorsports
Yes.
North America for quite a few, at least when I was president.
Yeah.
And now he is the is it the marketing director of Leipzig factory?
Of Leipzig,
Yeah,
correct. Yep.
for Porsche.
Yep. And then behind me, and I have to get used to this because he actually scolded me for calling him this, because I've always referred to Mr. Alan Springer as Mr. Springer. It's just like a respect thing that I've always done. And he said, if you call me Mr. Springer one more time, he's like, you must call me Alvin. And that is a huge honor.
And he's one of the three people that founded Andal. He was also a former president of Porsche Motorsports North America.
Yep. And he's a big fan of PCA. Again, it's a big honor to finally be able to call him Alwyn. And he also has a book coming out. I think did we feature that, or we talked about that?
No,
recently?
it hasn't been printed yet.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be 963, not 62, 963 copies. And the
cool is that?
reason,
Of course.
reason he put 63 is because he's actually, it might be the last car he's involved with, but he's involved with the new 963 as well. And so that's why he wanted to call it 963. We hope to have him on Tech Tactics, maybe the podcast. He wants to come out here to Columbia.
Oh,
Doesn't
I
want to
would love
do
to
via
host
phone.
him.
Yeah,
we
he
should do
was-
something super special if he comes out.
Yes, that's what I told him.
an
I
event.
said we would absolutely love to have him here in the office and the headquarters. There's going to be a big announcement about him coming. I can't really announce it yet, or I'll get in trouble. But
Oh yes, don't do that. Don't get us in trouble.
there'll be coming up a big announcement. Anyways, he's still very much involved with Porsche Motorsports, and I think it was fitting that Jens Walter help. I guess further the deal where Porsche bought Andal when everyone was ready to retire. So the Andal name continues on. I think people learning the Andal history will be tickled to learn about how these guys that were former mechanics of Ashok Polak started their own hot rodding business for Porsches. And now it's if you look at every winning Porsche from the 962 era, most of them all had Andal on the side because that was the key to success. And if you had a car that had an Andal engine in it, which somebody called me up actually and was asking me, we get a lot of calls where people ask valuation of cars, and it's hard to do that over the phone or even with pictures. But he was telling me about this car that the engine was rebuilt by Andal, and he had it done himself. And I said, well, that's a whole game changer now because that's a very desirable engine, the stuff they used to do to the cars. So, anyways, it was great that Alvin was there. So you had your 5 glasses of wine, because I remember there was...
There's a lot, but you know me. I'm not a drinker, and I tasted everything, and tasted delicious. But I couldn't tell you.
And what I like is because I'm not a wine person. I wish I could appreciate wine, because it looks like a fun thing to do and collect. But they have a sommelier.
Yeah.
Sommelier come up there and they tell the story, and
did.
you're sitting there just waiting to drink, and you're like hesitating because the person's still talking about this
With hints of chocolate
Yes.
and grapefruit.
Yes,
or
this is what
something.
you're gonna taste and everything. My wife
I
would
try to
always
keep
tell
it
me,
straight.
don't gulp it, just
Yeah, I try to keep a straight face and try to, appreciate it. And for me, it either tastes good or it doesn't. And I'm learning.
I wonder if I could actually fake it, get up there and talk about this stuff, and just
No,
pretend I knew what I was
no.
talking about, because
I saw some documentary recently on Netflix where this guy's family had like a barbecue something, and then he wanted to become a sommelier, and it was so out there for his family to understand. But what they do and how they study, and it's intense.
I could do that with milk and donuts.
I don't
But
know
what type of milk to pair with the donut.
To be a true sommelier, you drink a glass. You know what region it's from, what year it's from, the people that stepped on it. I don't know. You got to know all the details, and then you go, oh, that's a bottle of 1962. ... You could, Manny. I know you're an expert and all, but you can tell me what cow the milk came from and which kitchen the donut came from. Or maybe you can.
No, not that good.
Maybe donuts.
Maybe the donuts. Maybe the donuts. You're almost there. You're almost there.
Milk. I can tell you Horizon milk.
Yeah.
That's got a different taste.
I can definitely
that's
tell
about
you
it.
what if it's a Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme or Entenmann's, but not what bakery it came out of.
That would be
No, we're probably
hilarious.
more like white or red, right? That's pretty much as far
So
as it
yeah,
goes.
but to me that's part of the
very cool.
fun of the Guardians dinner is that it's all first class and typically what you would expect from Porsche. But once again, to me the neatest thing is when I sat at tables where I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
And then you get to meet people and I find out what kind of cars they drive and why they're here.
You know what was cool? This was cool. We've been around some people that have done really well at Porsche Cars North America, and I'm thinking of Aisha Coker. I'm thinking of Philip Mounty. I'm thinking of Kathy Lee. All of our partners now that we have at Porsche Cars North America, we've known them since they were just like new to the organization, and we've schlepped boxes and moved chairs with them, and to see them on stage and making all this happen that night, that was pretty cool. It was really cool to see all of our folks do so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Michael, Tam, and Abe were not invited to that. 'Cause
Not yet.
I asked them
Not
if
yet.
they were going that night, and they were like, "No." I'm like, "I don't feel bad. I'm not going either."
Yeah,
So
yeah. Maybe we should host a separate dinner on a different night with them, and we can talk
the
about
real Guardians.
The real
Real
Guardians.
Guardians dinner. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the day at Werks. Again, the numbers were strong. The day was a little windy, which helped out with the bugs. But if you guys don't mind, I'll just jump with the big announcement that we made on the stage, and that is together with Jill Whelan and Captain Mario.
Jill Whelan is for people who don't want to admit that they actually watch The Love Boat. She is who is she?
Vicky Steuben.
Vicky, yes.
Vicky Steuben from the Love Boat.
I can actually say that show is before my time.
That
So
that is definitely before your time.
So was Kelly Gonzalez, but I watched that.
And so she was there. The Captain Mario actually flew in. He's a car buff. He flew in from Antarctica.
He didn't dock in. He flew in.
Well, his boat's in Antarctica. I'm pretty sure it takes a while to get here. So they both flew in to announce to join us in announcing Princess Cruise Lines as the official cruise line for PCA. And I've told you all that the Zone Fest at sea was such an amazing event, and we were expecting and hoping that there would be a national one for 2023, and I'm here to tell you there absolutely will be. So December 9th through 16th, we will be cruising the Western Caribbean. You can go to pca.org and take a look at all the details of the event. I'm saying that we're probably
What islands are the Western Caribbean?
Western Caribbean. I don't remember all the islands. Belize, I know, is one of them. I don't know. I can't remember all of them. You put me on the spot. We can look it up.
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. It's gonna be beautiful blue waters, 7 shades of blue. More importantly, I think there's gonna be. I'm gonna call maybe 1,500 PCA members on the boat. I think that would be. We were 600 last time, and I'm pretty sure 598 of them are coming back. And if each of them brings 2 friends, I think we'll hit 1,500.
And how many? The boat holds 3,500, 3,000.
Yeah, like 3,500. And if it goes to 3,500, or if we fill up a boat, or if we need another boat, they'll bring 2 boats, and then we can drag from
And
island
this
to
is
island.
in December again. You said, right?
December 9th through the 16th.
Are we going with Melanie's name for the event?
So we need to. So right now it's called PCA National at Sea, which is not the official
least
name.
sexy name
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
ever heard.
that is just a placeholder. We have some names that we are considering, but the executive council needs to give us the final blessing. So we'll hopefully have a name soon. But super excited about that.
But we already sold a bunch of. Cruises, right?
So at the event we have 150 people already signed up.
Yeah, I saw Gurney Eagle after he won half the room there. He also won a.
So
he won a set of tires, but he signed up for the cruise.
Yeah, he won a set of tires. Signed up for the cruise. Had a 1 mile. He had
a really good weekend.
He probably had
And
the best weekend.
That's all luck. That wasn't like
Yeah. No, we.
But you couldn't plan like a better sort of experience for a member.
So,
You know?
Mike, if your wife is wondering why you belong in PCA, I hope this weekend alone has justified your existence.
I think
in
the
PCA.
tires probably paid for at least 20 years of membership.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So speaking of the day, was there a particular part of the day or cars that you liked?
Go ahead.
I like the GT2, the blue one that looked like a GT2.
The one from Japan?
Yeah, the one from Japan.
I was going to tell you we need to do a story on that.
Oh no,
car.
I've been talking to that guy for over a month. We're already doing a video and a story
Awesome.
at Rennsport because it'll be at Rennsport.
Oh,
it'll be finished at Rennsport.
He's a good guy, and that car is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
it's
Let me tell you a little bit. It's blue. It's from Japan. So a dealer principal bought a white 996 or 993 turbo for himself and a blue one for his son, plus all of the. Maybe I'm butchering the story, but I believe he also bought the bodywork from Porsche for the GT2 conversion. And did all of that, fast forward to now, and it has its bodywork, but now it has the engine. Porsche Classic, I guess you can send out your ECU now, and they will give you variable boost for your 911 turbo and GT2 power if it's built up. And I'm sure there's more to the story than that. But it's an all-wheel drive. He kept the all-wheel drive so he can drive it in more weather situations, and it'll be safer for him and his kids. But really, really, really well done car from Japan.
From Japan, but not right-hand drive. From Japan,
not right-hand drive. It's left-hand drive.
Left-hand drive. All
real
factory,
GT2 parts.
All GT2 parts.
Crazy car.
I thought the story was did they have a GT2 and then they wanted another one, but they couldn't get it?
It might have been. All I know is that those are real GT2 parts, and that blue car was for that dealer principal's son. So
exactly.
Just really wealthy individuals in Japan wanted these two cars and paid the money to get them.
It's a stunning car.
Yeah, but we'll have that full story and all the correct details later this year.
How about you, Manny?
Well, did you guys ever make it over to the corral?
I was
a little bit.
I was tethered to the stage, unfortunately.
Saw a 911R and a 997.2 GT3 RS 3.8 next to each other.
So
that was cool.
The one I liked was somebody towed one of the Alex Job 993 RSRs.
Whoa.
The Aerofab car that I got to see at Daytona actually race. And
It was in the corral?
It was in the corral up on the hill when there's special
Yeah.
interest cars.
Yeah.
Which I was like, this is why we need someone at the corral picking cars out, because that should have been on the main field. It was there all day. Yeah. And I think that would have been great to have featured, especially with all the other competition cars. When I first saw it, like I said, I thought it was a street car. They just put that livery on, but this was the actual car.
Remind me when we do the hot wash on Werks Reunion. We got to put that on a list of to-dos for the future.
I think that will. We've done it. We've done it before at events where we basically look at the cars going into the corral area, and they're going to be there.
We did that Sports Car Together
Yeah,
Fest.
they're going to be there more than 4 hours. We ask them to park in the main field because it's just for the spectators. It gives them an extra thing to look at if they don't make it over to the corral. Anyways, the corral had some really cool cars. Bilko and I had some time, and we walked over and we went up and down the rows looking at cars. And there seemed to be as many people in the corral just hanging out as there was in the main judged area. But with the judge cars, I saw a 53 356 that had a great story. It was a cabriolet, and the owner used a car in college, sells it. 30 years later, he happens to run across it again and buys it back and restores it. The exact same car that he used to have in college. I thought, what are the odds? And the fact that the car survived, where he was able to restore it again. There was a 55 Continental Coupe that was only a 1 year only car. It was the year our club was founded. And 55, that's an easy way to remember. They couldn't use a Continental name after the first year because Lincoln had a little issue with them using the name Continental, even though I don't think anyone would ever confuse the two cars.
Right.
Nonetheless, it was a 1 year only too. And of course, the Pre-A's, which is the 53, 54, and some 55s, had the bent windshield, which to me, that's one of my favorite era of 356s. I loved seeing the two Carrera RS, the 73s. They had a touring and a lightweight right next to each other, directly across from the new GT3 RS. I was telling Michael Tam, we should park the GT3 RS in line because the GT3 RS would never have happened if it wasn't for these two cars back in 73, 72 when they came out. That was the beginning of the RS line with the 911s. I know we cover some of these cars in a video that's coming out soon with the two 928s, the bookend cars.
Oh, yeah, in our walk
the early
around.
one and the GTS. And to the naked eye, they look almost identical. You know, it shows evolution, but you know, if you know how much they evolved from the early car to the later car, it was there were so many cool cars, and part of it, if you have time, is talking to the owner and listening to the stories behind the cars, because you may have some cars that seem just pedestrian, but you start to hear the story behind it, and you're like, wow, this is like a Pano story in itself.
Yeah.
Just the fact of how this car got here and how it was restored or maintained. So, yeah, it was an exceptional field at Werks.
Yeah, I love that copper 914 with the surfboard on top. I believe that's been in past Werks, Amelia's as well, but I always love seeing that car.
Yeah, so many wonderful cars, so many wonderful stories, and seeing how happy everybody was.
That was a beautiful 67S.
Owned by the same guy since, I think, like 76 or 77.
I think that was at the Amelia Island Concours on Sunday.
Yeah, Andy won at Werks.
Yeah.
Won first place.
Yeah, that's the first S. You know, it's the first high performance version of the 911 that comes out. Now it's like super desirable.
Yeah. I think the guy was like in his early 20s when he bought it.
Wow,
It's crazy, huh?
well, that's like me and my Fox body. I was in my early 20s when I bought it.
Has the Fox body ever appeared
All
at
right,
the Amelia
stop.
Island
I know.
fairways?
I just lobbed it so he can smash it out the park. I hear you. So we wrapped up with the awards ceremony around 2:30.
Oh, before you get there, I thought we were so good.
Oh,
So I had my star encounter.
you had your what?
Star encounter.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
you did.
Because Melanie, our events
and
manager,
Melanie were.
she kept on asking, because we heard that Jeff Gordon was having a 964 built up, kind of like a singer style, and I think it was for his wife. And the shop was bringing it to Werks. But Melanie said, "Is Jeff Gordon going to come?" And I said, "I doubt it, because he's the Grand Marshal for the Amelia Concours, and I'm sure they keep those people busy all weekend." But lo and behold, he showed up to Werks, and I think to see the car in its finished state for the first time, because I could hear the shop owner showing him all the different features of it. It was actually a Tiptronic, but what was cool about it was they redid the gear shift or selector where it looked like a standard shift. It didn't look like the typical Tiptronic gear selector.
I had heard that car is for his wife, and his wife did not want a manual transmission.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah,
Yeah.
He
So
must have not known
the group
about.
that built it was Sonderworks. Was it Sonderworks that built the car?
Don't remember the name.
I
I
think
can't.
that's.
There was an orange one that came out for shop built. It was debuting for the first time in this car. But what was really cool after this, like an hour later, I saw him looking at the new GT3 RS, which was right in front of the stage. And about 2 minutes before he came, I saw Michael Tam and Abe. I guess they were in a golf cart. They were going to get something to eat. And so here comes Jeff, and he's looking at the car. And so I walk up, and I said, "Have you seen one of these before?" Underneath, he goes, "No." He goes, "I've never seen one in person, but I've got one on order." He goes, "And so does Rick Hendrick." And I said, "Wow." I said, "Well, let me show you some cool things about it." And I was telling him about it. We had a Tech Tactics, so we got to see the underbody and all the arrows.
Manny was in his element.
I was showing him the hood and how now all the storage space is gone and where the air goes.
And you didn't invite Melanie to help you show him the car?
I told Melanie she wasn't allowed within 10 feet of Jeff Gordon. If we ever want to see Jeff Gordon come to the event. I did tell Jeff that his car was missing one important thing, and he said, "What's that?" I said, "You need a PCA sticker, because that's worth 2 seconds a lap." We all know that. So he chuckled at that, and he got to see the RS for the first time, which is pretty interesting that he hadn't seen.
Definitely.
Yeah, what's pretty cool is people pretty much left him alone. I don't know if many people knew who he was. That having just doesn't seem like a place you see a NASCAR
you
driver
wouldn't
at.
expect him to be there, right?
But he seemed to be having a good time.
Cool.
Stayed about an hour.
Any other celebrity encounters? So Alwyn and Jens came over. So you got
Yes,
to see them.
they were. It was great to see them. Like I said, we talked about coming over to Tech Tactics and what they're going to be doing as far as upcoming events. And he won't be at Sebring, but he'll be at the Long Beach Grand Prix. And yeah, it's going to be
a
fun.
celebrity we didn't see, but I found out was in town. That I wouldn't have geeked out, but I think he's super funny and he's super down to earth.
Usher.
No, well, I haven't met Usher, but Fluffy.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Really?
Fluffy.
Oh, I was so bummed. I heard he was judging the. I think he must have left right after he got the judging
Oh,
done.
man.
'Cause they do the judging before they open up to the public at the Amelia on Sunday.
Explain to everyone who Fluffy is.
it's Gabriel Iglesias.
Correct.
Who's a phenomenal comedian. He sold out Dodger Stadium, and if you just YouTube
He's
Fluffy,
hilarious.
You'll come up, and he's very, very funny. And he does so many different voices, and he's done it for movies. And his range of how he can use his voice is just really scary. He can do like the entire cast of different animated movies if they would let him. But
know
he's
who
a
else I
huge
wanted to meet?
VW Transporter
Yeah.
fan, and they had a VW Transporter class, and it was smart of them. I don't know how it worked, if he happened to be in the area performing or whatnot, but I saw them on Tim Sutter's
I know.
judged with them, and I was like, oh, that's one person I would love to
Not
have met.
only him, but you know his sidekick. What's his sidekick's name?
Oh, it's
Martine.
Mo Martin. Yeah,
So,
he was there.
He's always with him, so I wanted to. It would have been cool to see Fluffy and Martine, but maybe next time.
Yeah, we would love to have them over at Werks Reunion. That would be
That would have been
that
cool.
would be very cool.
So wrapped up Werks Reunion, and then the very next morning,
And kudos to the staff and volunteers again, because as somebody said, he goes, wait a minute, you take 2 days to set up and you tear it all apart in like 2 hours?
Yep.
And we were like, it's become standard. You know,
We were done like an hour earlier than usual this time, I think, too.
Yeah, we moved
really
things
smooth.
along. And as Manny said, kudos to all of the volunteers and the headquarters staff, but big props out to the Pravassis. Tom Pravassi, the chair of Werks Reunion, Sandy Pravassi, I consider her the co-chair because they go hand in hand. And all the things that they do during the year to prepare for really this one day.
We had a staff dinner, volunteer dinner with all the national staff and the volunteers afterwards at the golf club. And I didn't even think about this, but the staff that we first signed up when we first did Werks Reunion, and we put a call out for volunteers that we were going to do this Werks Reunion at Amelia Island, they're all still together.
Yeah.
We're all still together, all the people that were originally involved with Werks at Amelia Island.
That says a lot.
Yeah, it's and there's a lot of people who aren't PCA members who still come out to help out because they really enjoy the company of the team and being part of this really cool event. And obviously, they know we don't profit any from this event. This is all for the club, and that's pretty evident. The fact that we stay at the no free breakfast Aloft.
Hey, I'm going to say that everything around that Aloft is so good. Like Aloha Waffle Bar, the Mexican place, the Mellow Mushroom. I love it there. That's a great place to stay.
I guess you won't be staying at the house.
That's why I said we'll see.
It'll be a tough one.
We'll
for
see.
him.
You and Aaron can be at the
Aloft,
Aloft.
yeah.
Aloft. All right. So after we cleaned up and such, we actually loaded Project 964 back on the trailer because we were planning to participate, or Manny planned to participate and share Project 964 on the field for Cars and Coffee on Saturday morning over at the Ritz. And because our car is not tagged and insured, we have to trailer it over there. But if you've been to that event, parking and where to unload, it's a logistical challenge. And so luckily I went over there on Thursday for something. Reliable was delivering the by the way, Princess Cruise Line bought another Taycan to be raffled off to some lucky cruise goer the end of this year. So anyways, Reliable brought that car over, and the driver asked me to bring him back to the impound lot for all of the trucks. And so we when I went back there, that's when I kind of got a game plan of how we would unload the 964 on the Ritz property so that Manny just would have to drive onto the field and we wouldn't have it out on public roads. So it all worked out, and we had a nice showing of cars there. And what was the response of 964, not only at the Ritz, but during Werks?
People love the way it looks now with the stance and the wheels, and they couldn't believe it was the same car. I think the only reason they could tell, they said, because we saw the stickers with this.
It really transforms the car with just a few little mods.
Yeah.
And the seats really is a nice touch because the front and back match. And
kudos to Ilko again for making that call. And I would have chosen just boring black, but he's the one that liked the pattern and said we should do that in the back seats.
That was a great call.
And the wheels were from HRE were just top notch. I had people asking me, emailing, asking what type they were, what color. It's
and the fitment.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the tires and when I saw the wheels
too.
in,
I was
in the
very
box,
nervous.
I'm like, how are these gonna fit under the fenders? But sure enough, we bolted them on, and you can probably get a credit card in between the tire and the fender.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
the fronts are. Now we get to do a video about the alignment and the and ride height setting, but we had to do a quick ride height setting in our garage using a ruler and trying to get a stance at least for making it look good when it parked. But yeah, it drove fine. It
You want to try and do the alignment ourselves?
No.
String alignment?
We have
not
a
when we got TPC, Mike Levitt.
Yeah, Mike Levitt, the suspension guru, is down the road from us. We're gonna let him set it up.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about Saturday at the Amelia is, yes, you don't get all of the cars that will be there on Sunday, but you'll see a lot of amazing cars, and it's not shoulder to shoulder crowds, and you can get decent photos. You can talk to owners. I really enjoy Saturday. I like Sunday too, don't get me wrong, but Saturday is...
What was interesting is, so you had the Porsche, in front of Porsche, all the cars and coffee, and everyone's lined up perfectly, all Porsche. And then it turned into like a mishmash of different car makes with no particular rhyme or reason until you like looped around, and then you got to the BMW area, and there was about maybe 1/3 of the BMWs compared to Porsche. But in between, there was any organization, I couldn't figure out the rhyme or reason. Everyone was just first come first serve, I think, as far as parking.
And the Porsche owners get there early.
We do.
So they're all stuck there in the same area, right?
We definitely do.
I think they know how many are coming, and they set aside
Okay.
parking right in front of the Porsche display. So I'm sure that makes Porsche happy.
Okay, yeah.
But it was unfortunately it started raining.
But you know what? I think the weather gods are maybe automotive enthusiasts, because they had a few days to choose
Well, they are,
from.
because they gave us sunshine.
They
at
gave
Werks.
us sunshine at Werks on Friday, downpour at the morning of Cars and Coffee, and gorgeous weather on Sunday. So if it's going to rain, that's when it should rain.
You know what? I shouldn't say this, but it's only rained once and only a little bit. I'm going to knock on wood here.
You do not even go there about Werks Reunion and rain, because I will. No, don't even
All right,
even
I'll
talk
stop
about
there.
it.
That
Don't
was
even
far
talk
enough.
about it. We are very fortunate with our events.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it eventually stopped raining, and we couldn't move the car until 1:00.
So we go explore.
Yeah, we go explore. Now, what we used to do, and I would tell people about this, and of course, nothing lasts forever, unfortunately. And I'm not sure who's not to blame for this, or who is responsible for this. But we used to be able to walk into the Ritz and just go get lunch at one of the restaurants.
Yeah.
Even though everything was high price, that's the price you pay when you're there.
Yeah.
But it's better than getting the concession hot dog, which
Right.
is
With no place to sit.
made about 2 days ago, and they wouldn't let you in unless you had a
You had to be a hotel
previous
guest.
reservation or a hotel guest.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so then we were like, well, I guess we're going to have to kill time until we move the car, and then we'll get something to eat. So we walked around to look at the cars, their auction preview, I guess,
Yeah.
of the cars, and then Vu lucked out and got us some wristbands for the Broadview auction.
Broad Arrow.
Broad Arrow, excuse me.
Yeah. So yes, we walked around. There was some accessibility that wasn't there, that was there in the past, and the restaurant is one of them. But in the past, we also liked kind of walking the back lot, where the cars were staged, and also the parking garage.
That was close too?
That was close too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
it was kind of a bummer. Like, we didn't get to see as much, and then in the hallways there weren't as many vendors in there, which I don't care so much, because I kind of save money.
It's probably some of what's changing with new ownership, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
It sounds like.
But we did get to see all the Broad Arrow cars that were out on the field, and then we made our way inside into the auction room, and I was kind of peeking in, because I wanted to see where the Classic Club Coupe ended up. And
We bring Todd with us, the our national secretary.
And Todd is known for buying things.
Well, the best part, he gets in there and he's waving to somebody with his arm up in the air.
Like,
He's
Todd,
waving.
$2 million for this.
We're like,
Todd,
dude,
keep your hands down.
don't want to be
wave.
waving high up like that in an auction.
But if you're wondering how committed Broad Arrow is to bring attention to the PCA's Classic Club Coupe, it was answered because the only car in the auction room, and it was at the front right next to the auctioneer. The Classic Club Coupe was there in all its glory the whole time during the auction. So that was way cool, and thank you to Broad Arrow for doing that.
Yeah, I think word's already out about this car, and everyone's asking us, what do you think it's going to go for? It's tough.
We know what we have it insured for. Do you think it's going to go for that much?
Well,
hopefully.
So here's the thing: is I can't tell you how many times I heard the word trilogy about this car. And although we're selling this one car, I think the people that are probably most likely going to end up with the car is going to be someone wants to have the trilogy.
Yeah, which is the 997 Sport Classic,
2010. Yep.
And then 992, the one that just came out, right?
And then
this is like the prequel.
One of
it's almost like Star Wars, where they came out with the earlier episodes after they come out with the later episodes.
Yeah.
So this is what would have happened if Porsche would have done the Sport Classic with the 996, not the 997. Yeah. And fortunately, Boris Appendink has been involved with all three of them. So I think that really adds credibility to the whole trilogy that the same guy who came up with the original one also was involved with the other two.
I will go out and say that this probably will be the most valuable 996 ever.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure I can say that with absolute confidence.
I would have to agree.
The question is how much
valuable,
how much these collectors are willing to duke it out for the car. And we said this before, like the Sally Carrera and the Project Gold. Again, I might have PCA goggles, but I think our car is way more special than those two. And I know there's the charity factor with the other ones.
Well, Project Gold is essentially building another 993 Turbo S.
Yeah.
But just in modern times. But it didn't change the car. The car didn't change any. It was just
and you couldn't drive it.
You couldn't drive it. Yeah.
Except in very sketchy
We'll
countries.
see.
Yeah.
But in this car here was no one ever think the factory would modify a car like this, changing. I know it seems easy putting a GT3 engine in a 996, but it's actually very difficult, and for the factory to do it because they got to do everything correct. Is quite impressive.
And if you don't know, putting a GT3 engine and transmission into a C2 is a big
especially it's a later
challenge.
GT3 engine into an early 996.
It doesn't just bolt in
without using a Sawzall.
Right. It doesn't just bolt in, and the chassis on the C2 had to be re-engineered to accept all it. So it's like Manny said, for the factory to take on this project and
only make one of them. It wasn't like they spread the cost over 100 cars or 200 cars.
It's amazing. And we're going to continue to tell the story between now and June 10th, which is when the auction will be at the Experience Center in Atlanta, along with probably 40, 50 other cars, or maybe, I forget how many cars they said they were going to have. It's not more than 100. It's going to be a select, maybe 75 at the most. Our car will certainly be one of the Halo cars for the event, and we'll have some huge VIPs in attendance, and they're putting together a reel to get some thoughts from the executives at AG to share with the folks that will be in attendance. So we'll get to see the car one more time. They buttoned it up and sent it back to PEC Atlanta, and they will be opening the Classic Center in Atlanta the end of this month. I'm sure it'll be on display. And then
how far away is the new Classic Center?
It is basically
from PEC.
So one Porsche Drive, and then the hotel, what's called the Kimpton or something like that.
Towards Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, so you're going towards Chick-fil-A, right? So our reference is
the
Dwarf
first
House.
ever Chick-fil-A is right there.
So that is the very first Chick-fil-A. It's a very significant.
Not the IHOP in the other direction.
The Dwarf, they call it the Dwarf House.
But that's across the street. We're not across the street.
No.
It's
on the same side of the street. So you have one Porsche Drive, then you have the Kimpton, and then right behind it.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
it's Classic and the new track behind that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So the new track I think is open already. The Classic Center is, I'm sure it's going to be state of the
Are
art.
you going down there for the grand opening of the new track,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And Bogdan, I believe, to get some sweet reels. They're going to blow up.
Yeah, he's going to blow up. Bogdan's going to get best ever. And the joke is everything Bogdan, every new reel is going to
blow up.
It's going to blow up.
Guys, this is going to go viral.
To his credit,
I know
a couple have gotten over 1 million views now, which is really impressive.
He's doing fantastic.
Yeah, we had the one with the barn.
1.7 million.
Yeah, Jim Earlbeck said, because I told him about it, and he's the owner of the garage, and he said, "Give me perspective. What's this like? Does PCA always get million view?" And I laughed. I said, "No." I said, "We just had one other one," and he was like, "So is that impressive?" I'm like, "Well, for us it's impressive. I'm sure there's other pictures out there that have much more, hundreds of millions of views, but in the Porsche world."
Even 1.7 million, like that's a good amount, like for anybody. Maybe it's on the low end of good for a really
what
large
they consider
Instagram
viral?
account.
Instagram considers viral 100,000.
There we go.
That's what I use the term viral. So million is
Really good.
pretty impressive. But Bogdan, to his credit, he thinks everyone's going to be viral for.
It's gonna blow up.
He's going to find us. So yeah.
All right. Speaking of viral, upcoming videos, Damon.
So next week we'll have the Werks Reunion walk-around video. So Vu walked around, gave us a little bit of a tour, and we have some...
You better make me look good, because that was like...
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I think probably next time let Manny do it, because my head is in...
So frazzled, doing the stage stuff.
Because I'm keeping everything together up on the stage, and I love doing it.
Yeah.
But because I don't really get the opportunity to see all the cars and take the time to understand the significance of the others, and Manny, that stuff is all in his head. So
Yeah.
I had the luxury of walking around, and because I'd finished helping the girls set up and whatnot, that I had the freedom to walk around and look at their cars and see. I know Damon and Bogdan were busy with
Yeah,
with
I
their
can assure you
so.
the video will be good. It'll be less of you walking around and a lot of B-roll. So we hired a video crew. This year was a little different. We just said go film everything that looks cool, and then these cars that we know we're going to talk about.
Okay, perfect.
So the whole event, we should have tons of promotional material for next year, but also this video, it's going to be a lot of eye candy. So
awesome.
That'll be coming up next week. We're putting the video crew to work the past couple weeks. We had Werks, and that same crew also edited a Tech Tactics video, I'm pretty sure, and then we're heading straight back to Florida for another fun project this week. So, which look forward to another YouTube video and panel article later in the year.
We dropped a video yesterday.
Yes, so the 911 Dakar at Tech Tactics East. We dropped that yesterday. So by the time you hear this, it'll have been out for almost a week. And it's Christoph Klockow. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. He is a product specialist at Exclusive Manufacturer. And he's the one behind the creation of the Rally Design Package, which is the special design package with the Rothman-style livery, which is now Rough Roads. So we'll also, and this is just a preview, so when we have him talking about this for 6 minutes, we also have an hour-long presentation that we'll be releasing on March 15th that we recorded, or I should say Robert Forsyth recorded at Tech Tactics East. And I can't forget, today, so you'll be able to watch it now, we're going to make public Nathan Murr's presenton. So today's March 8th,
awesome.
I believe.
Yeah, I think it's online Porsche inspections. Basically, if you see something and bring a trailer, how to look at the photos the way Nathan looks at a professional, and what questions to ask before the questions are asked from the the readers. So,
and this is something, whether you're on Bring a Trailer or surfing Craigslist, it's good knowledge to have, so you avoid buying a car that might look okay in pictures or better than what it actually is in real life, and don't go and buy a car like that without knowing ahead of time.
Yeah, he definitely has some amazing tips, and some things that are obvious to him is not so obvious to those of us that don't buy cars on a daily basis. Really cool stuff.
I didn't obviously I have trouble with colors, but I didn't realize how you could tell the difference with the same car in different colors just because of the editor of the photograph may be able to change
what's
it.
funny actually is Bogdan has a very he has a cool style for editing photos, but sometimes that warps the colors a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll notice now I had mentioned to him, let's keep the cars looking how they look in real life. Anything else, feel free reign, but the cars have to look how they look. And he's seen a big difference with the appreciation people have, and they're not asking, is that the color I think it is? Or
right.
So same thing goes for taking pictures and editing photos for your for sale ad.
So I'm so happy I
others.
met my wife before this online stuff, because
I'm not sure where you're going with this. I'm not sure I like
got
where
to
you're
see
going
the
with
real
this.
thing. There was nothing,
God.
modified or enhanced in a
Oh, my
photo
gosh.
that you.
I was getting ready to
that's
hit
gotta
that edit button.
Right. Well, I'll take it on to the next thing. So I can't forget our first new style 1 mile review. You've probably noticed if you've been on our YouTube channel since Saturday, but that is a 2022 Cayenne Platinum. It's a bit longer, this video review, bit more information. Would love to hear what your thoughts are on it. We have a couple more 1 mile reviews that are comparisons coming up as well. The first is a 981 GT4 versus a 718 GT4, followed up by the Gurney Eagle 718 Cayman S versus Jeff's 718 Boxer GTS 4.0. So we have a 718 and mid-engine sort of shootout planned for the next several 1 mile reviews.
So allow me to go back to the Dakar video, probably the thing I like most, and this probably went over Damon's head because I don't know that he understands this reference. But our buddy Ian, who comments a lot,
he had a hilarious comment.
he had a hilarious comment. He wants a Dakar Noir. Do you get that, Damon?
Noir?
Dakar Noir.
No,
Noir.
I was going to say it sounds like, the film style or...
No. So Dakar Noir was probably like the cologne for us players back in the 90s. We rocked
Probably
it.
every girl.
Give me
was
some
like,
Old Spice. That's my
Dakar
approach.
Noir. When he put that up there, I think I laughed out loud.
Yeah, I thought,
that
like,
was
how did we not
perfect.
think of this when we were all out of Tic Tac? Because that would have been hilarious to mention that Porsche was
So
coming
Ian,
out.
thank you for the chuckles. I appreciated that.
Now we're going to have to explain it to Boris, and then when they come over, this is the next edition of
The Dakar Noir edition.
Yeah.
In the news, we're talking hybrid with regards to King Kong.
Well, this is the GT2 RS that no one's been talking about until just recently, as far as what's the... usually they come out the GT2 RS at the end of a generation, and they're talking 919 technology in the GT2 RS, which I like how they're marrying that instead of just saying a hybrid, because a hybrid people think of Prius, not 919.
Yeah.
But to say it has 919 genes in it changes everything.
Yeah.
This is going to be. We thought, wasn't it Walter Roll said that the previous GT2 RS should never have been a street car because it was so powerful, and they're even upping the stakes more. I say this for Todd Benz, who's listening, because we had a long discussion the rain under the tent about how hybrid and electric are here to stay, and unfortunately the ICE engine is not being developed anymore. And
I think it's safe for me to say, let me see how I can put this. So you're talking about the powertrain and the power of what's going to be presented in the 911 GT2 RS. But I can tell you that there's more. That it's going to make you go, holy moly, I can't believe this thing is a street legal car.
Yeah.
What
The
good does-
GT2 RS?
What good does it do when you say that?
Or what are you trying to say here, Vu?
I just like messing with you two.
That he knows
There's
it, but-
another car, it sounds like, outside of the 2RS.
See, I listen to Johnny Lieberman on Spikes, and he actually tells people what
I
he's
have
heard.
this thing called an NDA that I can't say anything.
That's only valid in Germany. You're in America now. That's perfectly legal to say. So, anyways, the other car that's going to be, that Porsche has not announced, but everyone in the world knows about, is the ST.
The ST, yep.
ST is coming out. There's been a lot of rumors. There's videos out of what this thing will be. Hopefully, we see it this year. Hopefully, it's some. Well, I don't think they're going to wait to the LA Auto Show, because the other rumor is that the Speedster was going to be coming out the LA Auto Show, which once again Porsche hasn't announced, but word gets out because people,
Lots of rumors.
unlike Vu, actually talk about what they've seen. And
I'm true to my word. I'm true to my
the
word.
Speedster is coming out in California would just make sense. I think every other Speedster has debuted in California. We got that. What they did sneak in, kind of, and people who were asking about this may not have realized it. A couple of years ago, they talked about the 25th anniversary of the Carrera RS.
Mm-hmm.
And that model, of course, was the one they announced with the special livery. Was it green?
The green,
yeah.
the white. My favorite livery.
The U.S. only car, and that's a tribute to the 25th anniversary. So for those of you keeping track of all these special cars that are coming out, check that one off the box. That was correct. All the people who had said there were rumors of cars coming out. So you get a special GT3 RS, as if the regular GT3 RS isn't special enough. You can get the Carrera RS edition. So we got still the ST to see that that's got to come out because everyone has spy photos and whatnot. But the GT2 RS, yeah, just when you think you have the coolest car in the block, comes out another beast.
That'll be interesting because when I think 919 tech, it's more like, again, Manny, the Vonnen aftermarket hybrid system you drove. It charges quickly, but it discharges quickly, and you get more power because of that. It just don't expect to drive, like on electric only. It's a power boost. I wonder if the GT2 RS, it's going to have that same sort of approach to charging and discharging. It's really quick, really powerful, and you're not going to be able to drive on electric. So at least that's what I think.
All right, the next news item is probably not so fun to talk about, but we thought it was important to include here, and it has to do with the Panamera cooling system.
Yeah, so I'm sure the owners of the 2015 to 2021 Panameras, if you haven't gotten a notice yet,
there are only 243 examples.
Yeah.
Which is nothing.
No, unless you have one.
Yeah, unless you have one. Yeah.
Unless you have one. Yeah.
You know what I read here? It said additional water pumps. Are you meaning to tell me they put more than one water pump in one of these things?
I would be surprised.
Man, two water pumps to worry about in a German car.
Yeah, I love Panameras, but they fall under the what's it going to be like in 20 years as a used car to maintain.
Well, I've been watching the market, and you can get some. I would love a yachting blue Panamera 4 with a tan interior, and they're going for like $35,000 for a low mileage example.
Remember when you could buy Aston Martin Lagondas cheap?
Yeah, never been a fan of the Lagonda.
But it's anyways, if you haven't gotten a recall notice or you're curious, contact your dealer. Probably look online too to see the serial numbers to see if it matches, just so you can get that fixed. And Porsche is usually extra vigilant if there's any concerns to jump ahead before the government forces them to.
So along the lines of what we saw at Amelia, the lineup of the VW buses, we got to actually see the new minibus.
Yeah, so we've seen this before in photos and Porsche photos, and kind of like in the background. And I've always said this is what I would love to have is a modern interpretation of the support vehicle from Porsche, which has always been a VW van. And I was bummed not to see him at the Amelia with the transporters. They had a VW electric transporter, but I was hoping to see the Porsche livery one. I could see myself driving that.
You know what they had? And shout out to our friends, the Telefunken VW van was there,
yeah.
So that was cool.
That's I don't remember seeing so many VWs at that Concours because we also saw a 49 Beetle, and 49, as Scott Reese, our VW friend, told us it came out, I think, in May or June was the first exports. So for this 49 VW, it had to be a really, really early model that was in display for the Concours. So that was pretty cool having the Beetle that old.
I would totally rock this minibus proudly.
Yeah, so that's going to be available for sale if you want the coolest thing at Cars and Coffee.
But the thing is, I think the U.S. is only getting the big one. Honestly, I probably would want the smaller one. I think the smaller one looks kind of cute.
Yeah, VW has it seems like a very particular plan for its U.S. products, and it's not the products I want to buy.
Yeah.
But apparently, people want bigger here in the U.S. They don't want the small hatchbacks.
It makes sense.
If they're driving that Jeep.
Well, here's the thing: is I'm sure they've got very smart people, forecasting. Why bring it if they're not going to buy it? Like how many people say they want a hatchback and no one buys it except for me?
What I like about it is, unlike the Ford Expeditions, the Chevy Suburbans, the Jeep Wagoneers, where they've decided now to raise the front bumper, to raise the whole hood so far up that you can't see. God help you if you're 5 foot or less.
Oh,
you're probably going to get run over because you can't be seen over top this bumper. The VW still looks like a sloping where you can see people.
Can someone tell me what's Rendiced?
Race service, I want to say. It's I looked this up at one point.
I think that sounds like a good.
Let's see what it says on Google. Racing service.
Racing service. Oh, okay, cool.
That was right.
Learned something new. All right, upcoming events. 12 hours Porsche plots. Manny's going to be there.
Yep, I'll be covering the WEC race and the IMSA race, one after the other. Friday on 4,000 kilometers of the WEC cars. They are two different teams. Porsche's not running the same cars. It's not the 70s like they used to. They're both Penske teams, but it will be. I don't think the Toyota Hearst is that. I got to look. They may be running a Sebring too. Do you see that one?
No,
it's pretty cool. It's a 963 with the Hertz Gold.
Oh, yeah.
Livery.
Hertz, Tom Brady, and Singer.
Yeah.
Got three big sponsors, huh?
Very cool.
People I would never associate it with
really
with
random,
Lamar, but hey, what the heck? It's going to be hopefully a fun time. Hopefully the weather's good. Remember to stop by the PCA Porsche plots right on the exit of turn 17. The corral sold out, so it's usually filled with Porsches in the corral. But they have speakers that come, teams that come to visit the corral, and they have their own grandstand. So, great place to watch.
Let's see here. So we are really starting to kind of turn the corner and really focus on Porsche Parade, getting ready for that big event. Of course, we are getting ready also, and I know, Manny, you didn't put it down here, but maybe you can give a quick update for our initiatives with Rennsport.
Well, a lot we knew from the meetings recently we can't talk about because they're still working.
See,
on
you know how I feel now.
Well, I want to tell the people.
Come on, the NDA only works in Germany.
I know, right?
It's a lot different.
All of a sudden, he follows it, right?
Because Robert won't edit that out. He has to edit whatever I say out. We're still working on how we're going to lay out the cars in the corral, primarily because they sold a lot more tickets for the corrals, and I could just say that everything Porsche is doing is to make this the greatest event ever. And kudos to Aisha Coker, the vice president. She runs a very tight ship, and she's telling everyone involved on the team that they have to meet all their milestones and deadlines, and the expectations are super high. Eyes of the world are going to be on them, and our little island now is going to be called Porsche Plots, and it will be basically before they would kind of forget about us and just leave us alone, but now it's under the same scrutiny as the rest of the displays, which means a better experience, I think, for the spectator. Volunteers will probably be opening up, and hopefully in May, as far as if you want to volunteer. There's going to be a lot of cool giveaways for volunteers. I think a shirt, poster, maybe a hat, and first access to parade laps. So if you want to really experience Rennsport, like anything else with PCA, sign up to volunteer. I think the shifts are maybe 2 or 3 hours each, and there's a lot of different cool areas you can work at, from parking cars to working in the it's not going to be called Chopard, it'll be called something else, but where all the primary vintage cars will be parked on display, to working the Concours. Everything's available if you want to help out. It's a great way to meet new people. Then we'll be having our own tent with our own presentation of when drivers come over and engineers. It'll be 4 really fun days.
Absolutely. All right, I want to give an update, and I chuckle. I almost was wondering whether or not I wanted to share this with you, but some of you had asked for decals, and wondering, did we forget about that? We haven't forgotten about it, but we did get sort of the first draft of what might be a decal, and it was a
Or might not.
or might not. And I don't even have the photo. I didn't share it with Robert.
Yeah, this is
because
top secret
this is
apparently,
top
but I got to
secret.
see
got
it.
to
You
see
guys
it.
didn't even share it with me. It was somebody else.
It was terrible, but we were gonna do sort of like a cartoon.
You know, I didn't mind my
Oh,
caricature
hush.
all that much.
It didn't even look like you. It didn't even look like you. And so there was this cartoon rendition of us around the table.
But
Yeah.
it wasn't a cartoon rendition.
No, it was.
It looked like
it
a
made you
first-year art student who maybe
made-
shouldn't be an art student.
It made you into a cartoon, but it wasn't like a funny
No.
cartoon.
It was like these programs that take a
Pretty
picture.
funny.
I know now all of you that are listening, you're like, show us, show us. No, it's terrible. Anyways,
I wish
so-
it would have been funny. It was more sad.
Well, I was laughing pretty hard when I saw
But
it.
I guess I don't see the funniness. It was
maybe the funny part of it is maybe it is us, and we don't want to admit that it's us.
well. Then if
He just accentuated our features.
we would just.
I mean-
we'd be making a living doing something.
What,
It's
you
fun-
didn't appreciate the double chins? It was so accurate.
But I do have a double chin. But that's not funny. I mean, exaggerating, adding a third chin would make it funny. I mean, that's what a caricature is.
Oh
you know?
my gosh. Anyways, I just want to let you know we haven't forgotten. We're just deciding on what the actual PCA Insider decal will be.
What's wrong with just the logo?
It might be the logo after seeing those photos or that photo.
We're not that famous to be caricatures. No one really knows us.
I don't know. Would you guys, those of you
Well,
that are
the
listening,
listeners will, but outside of that, it's
Yeah.
It's not like we're not like Smoking Tire #1.
True.
Yeah.
So it's
All right. Anyways, we're working on it. We'll keep you posted. I want to make sure for those of you that haven't signed up for the PCA newsletters, there's a few of them. Just go to pca.org, sign up for e-brake news, performance news, which is the four-door newsletter, and Mark Fresh news, which is everything with regards to the classifieds and such. And of course, always, if you're on YouTube, we appreciate the subscribe and all the like and the comments. Gentlemen, anything else before we sign off?
Nope.
No? All right. Well, thanks for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, grab your VIN and head over to PCA.org. We would love to sign you up as a PCA member. If you're looking for a Porsche, there's the test drive program. We'll help you find it. Remember to follow the podcast Instagram page to see behind-the-scenes photos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word, and we always are available via email. Just send it to podcast@pca.org or just comment on the platforms that you listen us to. So until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.